Today, let's bend some plywood using Kerf cuts. To make this chair, using 3 tools: table saw, track saw, and jigsaw. Here I am tracing the template from the model. The CNC machine sounds really good right now, but all I got is jigsaw, so here it is. Actually, jigsaw is a really good tool. It's very versatile. You can cut all kinds of shapes. Trimming the end with track saw. It's too big, way too big. Using hand tools. Starting the curve cut all the way around until it is completely finished. Then you fold, almost there. There you go. And now I'm making dowel connection points. Here I am making sure that the dowel is penetrating at least halfway. Ready for dry fit. The flexural strength of this thing was really a lot more than I thought, and it was really hard to hold on to. So here's another thing that I learned. The bending flexibility of the wood is not just a function of the curve depth, but it's also the direction of the grain. If it's a perpendicular to the grain, it's hard to bend. If it's parallel to the grain, it's very easy to bend. Alright, the dowel is lining up. I didn't push it all the way. It's a dry fit. But I had a terrible time pulling it apart because, again, of the flexural strength of the plywood. And it was kicking my butt. Okay, so here the joint is glued, and I'm basically taping the bottom so the glue will not drain into the hole. Okay, so this is where it gets tricky, because if I lean the thing on one side, I will not be able to glue the entire thing at once. Therefore, there will be a deformation, and I don't get that roundedness of the object. So I'm trying to level it as much as I can before I apply the glue at the curved joints. So I'm filling all the gaps with glue. The tricky thing about this is you have to fill the entire void with complete amount of glue. That's the only way this thing is gonna work. Because if you don't, it's gonna crack. So 100% if you can. Of course, you get the idea. You have to kind of fill the whole thing. And I'm working as fast as I can because you're running against time. Placing a flat panel on top to keep it reasonably flat. And once the form is set with the first layer of glue, put some weight on it, but you have to come back to fill the voids again. I know this is all I had, construction grade plywood, so I had to put some patches on with mud, but you know, it's practice. So I'm using 2 layers of 3/4 plywood per leg, so I'm cutting out 4 pieces. Start with the track saw and finish off the corners with the hand saw. Track saw cannot cut all the way to the corner, so I have to send them by hand. Here I am getting ready to do an angle cut to the top of the leg, so that legs don't splay apart too much. So this is the angle, which will be in contact with the bottom of the chair seat. And I'm marking up where the legs should be. Marking the dowel points.
What?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep. Don't say anything. Here I am marking up the angle for the cross member between the legs. Do the same on the other side. Of course, you have to adjust the overall length later on. I'm marking the angle in short direction of the cross member. So this is the angle for the compound cut, and it was really tricky to do it in track saw. I know I probably need one of these, but I didn't, so I just used cardboard to measure the angle. I could not figure out why it was not fitting, but then
hold it down. Hold it
there
down.
it is. Excuse me, I'm dancing because it's fitting now. And this is the shorter cross member. Flip it over, flip it over. There you go. And that's good enough fit for me. So another tricky thing that I had to do on this one was that the legs were at an angle in relation to the cross member, so I had to drill a hole at an angle. I had to practice for a few times, but I finally got it. Here is the final dry fit. It's fitting pretty well. Construction grade plywood, I had to paint it. But, you know, I think it was okay. Accentuating the hole in the middle. The primer is on the sit back, and the tape is coming off for the legs to be glued on. So final gluing, I had a couple straps holding the cross members sideways together, and I had another mechanism kind of holding the entire assembly downward using elaborate strings kind of tied up to the stool below. And finally, add some weight and you're done. Oh well, just another day in the garage. Actually, this is the only hole that I wanted in the project. So here I'm marking out the bottom of the chair so it can be in level with the floor. Let's minimize the damage with glue tapes so we don't have any blowouts. Trim it with a handsaw and then sand it off, make it nice and smooth. Here I am finishing up the chair legs with Danish oil. I think it's a nice contrast with the whiteness of the chair. And this is the bottom of the chair. It's in level with the floor. After all that, I get to sit on it. It was kind of nice. But I say if you can afford it, just buy one. Good night.